even better.
Small ranch.
Yeah, even better.
I
Just
just
got
hit
a
go
big
live.
basement and
Uh-huh.
bedroom down
I
there,
just hit
bathroom
go
down there,
live.
so
You should be.
when my
Okay.
nephew needs his own
You got that
privacy
on?
and
Okay,
friends
make
and
sure
fun,
we're running here.
my
He can
nephew
be
goes
down
down there
there.
with with
Yeah.
his buddies.
Yeah, there you
They're
go.
not upstairs with my
Right.
brother. Probably drives my brother up a wall that he can't be included, but, you know, he's not a young kid
It's
anymore.
that fine
He
line.
wants some parent to
You
He-
get
he was
some
thinking
email,
Actually,
uh,
yeah, our council.
Looks good, fine.
Yeah, he misses being involved in all that.
Okay. Not wacky, but they're different.
Nice and warm in here, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, is everybody ready?
Yep.
All right. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Committee of the Whole meeting of the Village of Walton Hills, Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026 at 7:12 p.m. We're running a little bit late because there was a recreation community life meeting before this meeting, and they had quite a few things they wanted to address. So you can watch that on the live stream too. I'd like to welcome everybody to the live stream, and any residents and non-residents that are watching that. Okay, roll call, Nikki, please.
Councilwoman Kanzoni,
Here.
Councilwoman Allen,
Here.
Councilman Spitznagel.
here,
Councilman Whedon,
Present. Mayor
Okay,
Colograph?
yes.
Members of council, I'd like to ask for excuse absence for Councilman Fred Nielsen, who cannot be with us tonight.
Is there a second?
Second.
Vote on the motion.
Councilwoman Kanzoni,
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen,
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
yes,
Councilman Whedon,
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All council present, of course, except for Councilman Nielsen. And we do have Nicole Sell, our fiscal officer here, Melissa Sangrick, our assistant fiscal officer, and our law director, John Montello, are all present also. Okay, Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. Any comments related to the agenda items? We'll go through these, the legislation, then item 6, which is finance. And at that time, I know, just talking to some council members, myself and Nikki and Melissa getting calls about Rita. We'll have Nikki talk about that when we get to item 6 in finance. So we'll go through the legislation right now, and then when we get to that, we can talk about that. And also, Nikki and Melissa have some finance reports to share with us. So, okay, so we have legislation, item 5, item A, which is ordinance 2026-1, an ordinance authorizing all actions necessary to accept the Northeast Ohio Public Energy Council, NOPEC, 2026 Energized Community Grant. We've been very fortunate. We've been getting this grant for quite a few years now. Nikki, did you want to share the amount with us?
For 2026, the village has been awarded $6,940.
And that is in the memo that I received, and Nikki put it in the packet too. So, I don't know, is there any questions on that?
Mayor Colograph?
Yes.
Just one question, and that's in regards to how the grant can be used. Is it at the discretion of the district in general, or does it have to go in this, be applied in a specific area?
It's specifically for energy efficiency and improvements. I think, I don't have the list with me, but they did provide a list on applicable items that could be the funds could be used for.
Okay, thank you.
We have used it for updating our lighting to LED and different things. And I know, just talking to Rob, he has said he's not gonna have a hard time spending it, that money. So,
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
And what I provided, there is ideas for grant projects, including things such as energy efficient windows, solar-powered LED stop signs, lease or purchase of electric vehicles, electric upgrades, generators, and there's a few other items on the list. So it's basically all energy efficient upgrades.
I think with sharing that with us, I think we might have used it for some of that money for the garage doors last year, the year before, down in the police station, I think.
We use some of it for lighting also.
Yes.
In a few of the places. So Rob did. Rob is the one that would
Yeah,
know
right, like the
best where
service
that
department.
goes, but yes.
Mr. Mayor, we also have some additional funds that have not been used, and I don't have the exact number in front of me, but it was close to $20,000 that we currently have available to us.
Okay, and then do we have the deadline for that? We can get that.
There
We'll get
is,
it.
yeah, there is an expiration for a certain portion of it, and again, I didn't bring that, I apologize.
Oh,
but
that's okay.
It's a little over $6,000 that expires in November, so we need to use that portion this year, at least.
And I don't think that will be too hard to do, so. So I'll have it on the next COW meeting and then on the council meeting for suspension, if everybody's good with that. If there's any questions, let myself or Nikki know, or, questions for Rob. We'll get a little more information, how much we have in there, and talk to Rob, see if he has any ideas, on what he's planning to do, with spending some of those funds. Any questions at this time on that ordinance?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I'm just reading this last page here where it says November 30th, deadline to submit disbursements for 2024 NEC grant balances. So is that the balance, the $20,000 that you were talking about for the,
No, that's the $6,000 that we had to spend before November, so that would be a balance that we had left over.
the 6,940 are you talking about?
No, I don't have the amount we received in 2024, but whatever balance was left that we didn't expend from that monies would have to be used by November.
Oh, I see, okay, thank you.
Yeah, we can give a little more detail to that.
Right, I can send it over,
And that's about $6,000.
correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Then we have item B, which is Resolution 2026-8, a resolution authorizing the mayor and the clerk of the Village of Walton Hills to enter an agreement with the CFC Underwriting through Love Insurance Agency for a cybersecurity insurance program effective January 20th, 2026 through January 20th, 2027, and declare an emergency. That is something I mentioned to council in our last month. In our meeting, I did bind it, so it is in force. And then John Love, correct, Nikki, said we just need to pass it this month.
Correct.
So, but we do have cyber insurance, because I was able to bind it. And you guys had told you about it, you guys were good with that, so. Policy's the same, he feels it's what we need, and recommends that, so. And the funds were the same, wasn't it, Nikki? The price only went up a little bit?
Correct. It wasn't that much that
No.
it went up, and it wasn't for the insurance, it was for fees,
Fees.
yeah.
It was less than $500 or
Yeah,
something, wasn't
mhm.
it? It was real minimal, so. So that's one reason he felt right now, reason to shop it around. He thought the renewal was good. Next meeting, we can have that difference between, just to illustrate that, the difference between last year and this year. And the next COW meeting. Any questions on resolution 2026-8? Okay. Next item is, any questions related to those items from anybody watching the live stream or anything, Nikki?
No.
Okay. And if something comes up, anybody watching live stream, you can always present your question at any time. Okay, item 6, finance discussion. I think before we get in the budget, in case there's people watching and maybe they're watching for that specific reason, we can just kind of talk about that. Go ahead, Nikki, you can talk about it.
So we received a few phone calls today regarding non-filing letters that Rita had mailed out. They just mailed them out January 20th. People are starting to receive them. And what they are is basically the tax returns that Rita does not have a copy of or any information for. And they're asking that residents either, if they have not filed, to file those returns for those years. If they have filed, just to get a copy to Rita so that Rita can update their records. In the letter that they did send out, on the back of the letter is addresses and phone numbers and ways that they can get that information to Rita. So basically, that's what they're looking for from anyone. And if you are retired or for some reason did not need to file, there's check boxes on the front for certain situations that you may not have had to file. And you would just have to send that back to them.
And I just want to make a comment because I received some calls. Let's say you, because when we did transfer the files from, of course, from the village, because we used to collect it ourselves, to Rita, we were told at that time there could be situations where maybe they're in somewhere else there, or whatever happened between that. What we do know is we do have any tax returns that were filed. We have a record of it, and we have it in a special tax file, and we also have a record of any payments that the village received. Okay, so I just want to let everybody know, because I know when people receive something like this, it can be upsetting, and you feel, oh my gosh, I paid and now they're not. Rest assured, between Rita, any records the people have, and the records we have, we're here to work with everybody and get it straightened out. Okay, they're doing their audit. They collect taxes for us, so they will go back. And that's what they're doing. The other point I want to make, when they notified us that they were going to do this, and we talked about it with council, council and the administration made a decision that there is no penalties. We know it's a big transition between going from collecting your own taxes to Rita, that this body and this administration and the finance department agreed we're not going to penalize anybody. You need to get it straightened out, or you need to pay it if you owe. If you don't owe that, then you don't owe. But there's no interest or any penalties. That's pretty rare. So we understand the frustration. Nikki has received quite a few calls, her and Melissa, and they're looking, going to capture what they can and help out any residents that have that. But certainly reach out to Rita, because it might be, I know my mother-in-law who lives with us and is 97 on Social Security received a letter, I have it right here, as a non-filer, and we just have to check a box on it and give some years and send it to them. So that's But we just kind of want to calm the waters. We certainly, by changing from collecting it in a house to Rita, it wasn't to upset anybody or not do things correctly. It's just more efficient for us to collect the taxes through Rita and pay that service. And that's why we're doing it. So if you have any problems, feel free to call Nikki or Melissa, and they can't help you at that time. We'll get the answers, and but call Rita too.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
My house did get one of those letters, and it was for my husband and his ex-wife. She had moved out of the village about 30 years ago. So, of course, she hasn't been filing. They've been divorced. And when I called Rita, I was not on hold very long at all. And they were very, very helpful. I mean, they found his name and social security number filing with me where it's supposed to be. And then they found where that was from many years ago, wondering why he hasn't filed with her. They were surprised that his social security number didn't bounce, showing you can't be in two places like that, married to two different people. But they were able to fix it over the phone and take care of everything for me, and they were very helpful. I mean, so it was good to know, because I had a call, I had to get it fixed, because that wasn't one of the boxes. So, they were very, very helpful at Rita.
And that's, but when you got it, just like, my mother-in-law receiving it, it could, taxes or owing anything can be very stressful. And that wasn't anybody's intentions in the village. The intentions is, if people owe the village taxes, we're gonna collect them, and we're using Rita as a service. Very few communities are collecting their own taxes. Most of them are converting to Rita. For one thing, now the difference is when we were collecting our own, and we had the option with Rita. Rita didn't have access to the federal database. That's something this council and we all talked about. And as Nikki expressed today, when we were, and Melissa, we were all talking about it, now they have access to that. So W-2s are, can be shared from the federal to Rita, and a lot of different things. So everything will be straightened out. So be patient with us. We appreciate that. If you have any questions, call Rita. You're certainly welcome to call our finance department too.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that too,
Yes.
Diane, because there is always that fear of calling too. And Rita is in Brecksville. I know when we did convert, some people said, boy, I went up to Rita, and it was up in Brecksville there, and it was a pleasant experience to make an appointment, and they got me in right away and stuff too. So I know some of the experiences that we had with Rita years ago is not the same. It doesn't hold true. So today, at least that's the feedback we're getting, and the feedback and me working with them, have had a positive experience. So let's hope that continues. Does anybody want to share anything, or anything, Nikki or Melissa, anything else to share with that, or that we didn't cover?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, so if somebody were to call, they would just look for the fiscal officer on the phone tree, or the assistant fiscal officer on the phone tree. Okay, and if you do get somebody else, they can always just say, I think some of the other office staff took some calls and then sent them over to you guys.
They have a Rita.
Okay, good.
Send them all to Rita as well.
Yeah, good. Okay. Any questions from anybody watching the live stream?
No.
Okay. If anybody has any questions while we're discussing anything else, you're certainly welcome to share. Nikki, do you and Melissa go over item 6, which is finance discussion?
Mr. Mayor, so we presented the finance update for December 2025. For the month of December, Rita collections were down 30.13% over last year and up 7.71% for the year-to-date. December expenses exceeded revenues for all funds by $300,833.08. Our year-to-date revenue happily has exceeded expenditures by $84,937.25. In the general fund, expenses exceeded revenue by $109,716.23 for the year-to-date, and $116,385.58 for the month. The village has received $9,263 in interest income for the month and $118,084 for the year-to-date. So we're pretty happy with our December numbers, much better than what we had expected. A couple of things that I would like to highlight as far as income is that our RETA income was up. Reimbursements to capital projects, we received $442,000 in 2025, which is wonderful. And the traffic camera collections in December had the largest collection month for the year at $83,745. So that was exciting. But those were some of the highlights for income this year. We also did have some other additional unexpected income. We had a refund from RETA, and that was around $90,000. We also had some unexpected melt distributions. Those came in the amount of $105,509.27. So we did have some additional revenue that we weren't expecting this year.
Could you repeat that last one? What was that from, the 105,000?
It is a melt distribution. It's municipal, and I hope I had to say this right, municipal electric, light, and telephone exchange filings.
And that amount again?
The total was $105,589.27. And those were for tax years 24 and 25 from 3 different companies.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilman.
are there any capital improvement reimbursements from last year still outstanding?
There are. So we still have, about including one submitted this year, we have $124,334 outstanding. For last year, of the reimbursements that Joe submitted, we have $45,193. Mr. Mayor, in addition,
Yes.
as far as I'm not sure if I mentioned this, the traffic camera, between the income and what we pay to Garfield and Gatso, the income for the village was $305,723.
Not easy looking at numbers all day, is it?
No, especially at 7:30. And with that, I didn't get very many questions in my email, but if there's any questions that I can try to answer on the statements, I would.
Mayor Colgraf.
Yeah, go ahead.
To Nikki. Nikki, could you repeat the reimbursements? I think you said 442,000. Was that for the entire year or the month, what came in the month of December?
For the year.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, John?
Nikki, if I'm looking at this right, then we were budgeting almost $1.5 million deficit, and we ended up 84,900 plus in the black.
Correct.
Awesome.
We still, I mean, there's several reasons for that. First of all, the income that we had, the expenses were lower. We still have some projects that we haven't paid for. I don't have that list in front of me, but we have a couple that still need to be paid for. So not everything finished in the year that we had expected, so.
But it was ending in the black instead of deep into the red.
Correct.
So
So it's very
that
good.
is the happy part of it.
Well, that's because of council and the administration and finance department and all the department heads. We still were very conservative, even this year. I know it's a hard job for you guys to say no to things, but it's something we just don't have a choice yet. But we're getting better. We've done quite a few improvements last year and finished okay. We're seeing our revenue increase, and we're gonna see some more payroll from Great Day.
Mhm.
Hopefully, we'll see something in what would you say, probably November, right, if they started.
We should be probably within a month or two.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
that's certainly gonna help.
Mayor Colograph,
Yes,
I have another question for Nicole. Nicole, in the area of the Fund 9904, the JED, where it shows the revenue of 114,000, and then the total funds and the revenue of 206, is that solely Walton Hills portion of the JED, or is that part of the pooled fund that, or is this specifically our portion of the JED?
So the municipal withholding is what you're referring to?
No,
That-
it's, no, 9904,
Mhm.
second from the last line, Walton Hills JED.
And what page are
The
you on?
cash summary by fund.
Oh, so yes, the revenue that is on the cash summary by fund, that is all JED income.
What-
It's not just the village portion.
Okay, that
Yeah.
answered my question.
Mhm.
Mr. Mayor,
yes,
on the cash summary by fund, I noticed the general fund actually decreased by, let's say, $109,000, correct, over the year over year, from 1.7 to 1.6. But a lot of the other funds in here increased. And I know some of these funds get their funding from the general fund, correct?
Correct.
So, my question is, the funds that get their funding from the general fund that did increase, is there a way do we need all of that money in that fund? Or can you put some of the money transferred back into the general fund to spend on other things? See what I'm getting at?
I do, but I think mainly when we do a transfer, it would be to the police and fire pension fund, it would be to the capital fund, and I believe the water meter repair fund.
Okay.
So those typically we will use. Once you transfer it in, you do not transfer it out
Okay.
unless, I believe you have to go through the auditor of state.
I see, okay.
But the other funds, were you looking at anyone in particular?
No, I know some of these, like the draft TIF, that is not funded by the general fund, correct?
Correct, no,
Yeah, so
Mhm.
some of these are not.
right.
No, I wasn't looking at any one in particular.
Okay.
Nikki, anything else you or Melissa would like to point out as we go through this, or that maybe you wanted to note, or?
I don't have anything in particular.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Jen?
I'd just like to point out again, I know I've done this several times, but with Star Ohio being transferred, in June of '24, at '23, we only had $28,121 in interest on our accounts, and this year that has gone to $118,084. And again, thank you guys. I mean, seriously, so much for that. That is a huge amount.
Yeah, that's great. However, if you notice, we're starting to go down because the interest rates
the
have
interest
gone
rates
down.
going
That's all right, that's all right, that's all right. It's way up from where, I mean, that's what, 5 times, you know, what it was. I mean, I am very grateful for the knowledge of doing that.
Well, thank you.
Any other questions? Well, we'll have it on, also, I know Ray, you won't be able to make the next COW
Correct.
meeting.
Correct.
But we might as well, I'll put finance, you want me to put finance on it again, if anybody has any questions or anything comes up, you're
Yes.
good with that?
That's
too?
Mr. Mayor, also, if you do have any questions and you'd like to present them, if you'd get them to us in advance, that'd be super helpful. That way we can be prepared to answer.
Well, you do pretty good on the fly.
She is, she is.
You both do, you got,
They know
like,
their
like
stuff.
Jennifer said, when you understand it well, it makes things easy, right? Okay, well, I'm gonna we'll move on to other business. In your packet tonight, we distributed, I got a memo from Joe. He called me yesterday and, said, Mayor, we have an opportunity to, get some funding, for Dunham Road, for the project from Sagamore, to, Astrohurst.
You don't have a memo.
I don't have anything.
Did you pass them?
Oh, that's my fault, right, Nikki? Where did I, that's right. I was supposed to pass them out. So
Maybe
I
in
do
the
have-
boxes.
No, because I checked when I came in.
Okay.
I always do in case, you
Get
know.
something at the last
yeah.
minute.
Because I'd
I
like to
didn't
try to
wanna
get
leave it
this.
in there in case somebody had already picked theirs.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have had any more time except a little
I
bit
wouldn't have gone
before,
back
so
out and
there's
looked.
that. And also, this is,
Because I like.
sorry, Mr. Councilman Nielsen, I didn't pass out your,
Yeah, I picked mine up.
email either.
That's how I
Don't
went.
be too mad at me.
Even though it's probably gonna be blank,
Did you
I
see
still
Joe?
check it.
Diane. Jennifer, need one.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't, you don't really need that one, but this is what you're looking for.
Oh.
There's that. But I'm gonna give you,
Joe's,
printed them off.
Okay.
did he give you Joe's email?
Yes.
Do you remember?
There you go.
Do
So,
you have an extra, Mayor, do you have an extra one of Joe's?
Oh, did I miss that, too?
Just for me.
No wonder in school, they only let me, the teacher only let me pass out the stuff once, right? So Joe called me yesterday and I said, Joe, send a letter. I said, I'll give it to council, see if the infrastructure committee meeting feels, the committee, council feels it needs to go there. And he said, Mayor, I'm just letting you know, there is a deadline of February 27th. I think that's what he's got in here. It's the end of February. To submit this, it's for 28. You don't have to let council know, they don't have to feel you don't have to feel, committed. We should apply for it if we have an opportunity. He goes, I'd like to apply for the same amount of funds next year to try to get it up to 500,000, and get closer to that amount of the project. So here's this letter, and so what he's basically asking is to have it on the agenda for this month. Okay?
Sure.
But take a look at it. If you have any questions, call Joe. We can call Joe, or you can call Joe, or he can even come in, he said. But it's just to apply for the grant to see if we would actually even be awarded it. And then the rest, as you see, he felt, depending on something that the TIF funds could be applied to that project too. Sagamore to Astorhurst. So it is the lowest rated main road within the village. He did submit the road program rating chart, not chart, I guess graph, not graph, but listing in here to look at too, so.
These work better in color.
It is better, yeah, well, we printed it, what's that, yeah, I can get you, we can send it over to you in color, if that helps too, we can send you. Nikki, we didn't send it, did we? No,
I don't think so.
no, we just printed it. You wanna send it?
It printed on my printer, so that's
That's
why it's
why,
not.
yes.
Well, the positive side is 32.2% of our streets are rated as very good.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, I thought this was good too, the,
Mayor Colerath?
yes,
Yeah, I'd just like to say thanks to Mr. Gelati for notifying us about this grant application process opening up with a deadline to submit of February 27th. And since I will not be here next week, if there's discussion, I think this is a wonderful opportunity to improve the Dunham Road corridor here in the Walton Hills. And I would wholeheartedly support us applying for this type of grant.
yeah, Mr. Mayor, I would
Yes.
completely support applying for this grant too. So if that needs to go on the agenda, absolutely.
okay.
Anytime that we can,
For sure.
it's just asking for free money.
Right,
So-
exactly, okay. John, and we'll talk to Joe, see if we get the legislation, and Nikki will get the legislation. So we'll add it to the COW meeting next week, and then from there, we'll have it for council.
Another comment, if I may, Mayor. Also, the fact that, this grant application is, if awarded, would be slated for the 2028 year, which gives the village time to, however else we may have to pay for the rest, if granted this. But it also speaks to the ongoing, this road condition assessment that our village engineer has put together, as well as this continuous upgrading of the road plan. So we're talking in February 2026 about a potential 2028 project, and this is the absolute way to do it. This is how you do it. So, I wholeheartedly support this. Thank you, Mr. Gelati, for your efforts.
And especially pointing out that TIF funds can help pay for that also.
Right.
Just one other question, Mr. Mayor. Would
Yes.
this go all the way down to Tinker's Creek where the last, well, it didn't go all the way, because they came up the hill slightly on Dunham. Would this complete that whole swath?
That, I don't know exactly where, you know, he listed as Astrohurst. I don't know exactly where, but I can find that out,
Okay.
Jennifer.
I'm just
Because
curious.
I like to know, you know, remember when we did Dunham, and we came back so far, and then we have that one spot where it's like real rough, you know, and there was questions there, but some of that was, Joe, so that's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to slow you down and kind of give you a little traction. But, so, I know what you're asking. Let me find out what the distance are. The Sagamore Road, that's an easy
Oh,
one.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
as far as when he says Astrohurst, let me see what he means by that.
Okay. Thank you.
Is it past, you know, is it past the park entrance? Is it, you know, because Astrohurst would be pretty, almost at the bottom of the hill,
Right.
you know?
Mhm.
pretty
Mr. Mayor?
close, So,
Joe sent in, the county does not require legislation to submit the application. To answer Jennifer's question, it will connect to the paving done in 2021.
Thank you.
okay. Well, do we need a motion then or anything, John?
Well, let me think about it, if we do, I'll prepare one. But it sounds like we don't. So I'll see what the application says.
Okay, all right. But everybody supports it, I know.
Yes.
Talking to Fred, I did have a discussion with Fred today. He did, I meant to say it earlier. He said he was in support of course, how council feels, but he is in support of what's on the agenda. And I did share that with him, so I know he'd be in support of that too. So, okay, so we'll move forward with it. If Joe were to say to me, Mayor, I'm gonna do it this week or something, you guys would be okay with that?
Absolutely.
Certainly.
Absolutely.
All right, but if we need a motion or whatever you think, John.
I'll talk to Joe in the morning.
Yeah, talk to him. Make sure you don't need legislation or whatever. Okay, good. That's the only thing I had for other business. I don't know if anybody else has anything for other business?
Mr. Mayor, I do.
Okay, oh, that's right, you had your meeting.
Yeah, we had our recreation and community life meeting before this meeting, and there's a couple things on there that I want to run past the rest of council and you and Nicole, of course. We have the bird situation at T.G. Young above the picnic tables under the pavilion. And the birds, there's this deterrent, these little units that they could put up there in the spring to deter the birds from nesting underneath there to prevent all the droppings on the tables. And they would come out, clean out the old nests that are sitting there, put these in there. And for 1 year, we're hoping that this would solve the problem instead of putting up that netting. The netting is very expensive to get, to put across the whole top of it. I'm not sure if they staple it on or what they do, but this would be a little more cost effective if this would work. The company Apex, it's $805. So I'm not sure what anybody else thinks of this, but it would be something that would be beneficial to anyone that rents the pavilion, so we're not worried about all the droppings on the tables when they set up their food and picnics, and then, of course, the Parker program, they wouldn't have the situation also.
So it's a deterrent, it doesn't any way harm the birds, it just deters them from nesting?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Because I think they're barn swallows or like swallows or something, which are, I don't know if they're protected, but you're supposed to, you know, not, so as long as they're not, if it's not harming and just deterring and it's something they do, I mean, I know it's not good to have all those droppings up there either. So
Exactly.
what are they asking? Is it in the budget or?
Just that, well, they're gonna have to find it in their budget, the $805, and get a purchase order. It wouldn't be until like April, you know, because you do have to get there before the weather breaks, so it
How
just
did the committee
depends.
feel? You guys?
Yeah,
We
Fred
agree
and,
that we should, that it's a worthy, at least try it, see how it works.
I would support that then. Support the committee.
And Mr.
Mr.
Mayor, we didn't,
And Natalie.
I don't know if that would come out of the rec budget per se, or buildings and land for maintenance.
Mr. Mayor, they do have repairs and maintenance, building and land in their own line items, so it would be
Oh, in
there.
their own, okay,
Okay.
In the 310.
okay.
So that's something you and Melissa can help navigate that? Okay, good.
okay, the
So
other.
we're gonna move forward on that then, would be the
Okay.
answer.
Another thing that we talked about, of course, was the Parker program, and we would like to have a very small increase this year. The $50 for the residents, $50 for the grandchildren, and $100 for the non-residents. It's a minute increase. Basically, all the supplies go up, payroll goes up, all the expenses go up for there. It still doesn't even come close to us trying to break even. I mean, it's nowhere near it. But there are so many expenses, gasoline to get, you know, the use of a bus to haul the children around. But we've had a lot of positives, even though we only had 20 kids this past year. A lot of positive came out of it. A lot of the residents were very happy, and the non-residents and the grandparents, with the program, with everything that they were involved doing, plus going down to the lake to swim. So they would like to be able to do a small increase, just so that we don't just keep falling further behind.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Just from the financial statements, the Parker income was about $12,125. We have expenses booked at $6,986, and seasonal wages came out to about $24,031. So, just in there, I think it's a good idea to increase it a little bit.
We are still way under. They gave us a sheet for Valley View, Bedford, Solon, Independence, Twinsburg, and Macedonia. And we are way under what all the other communities have for their residents and non-residents. So, I mean, it's a wonderful program for this amount. It's 7 weeks, 7 days, 5 days for each week, 7 hours each day. So the children really do get a lot of time to be together and do things together.
How did the committee feel? Therefore?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes, and Mr. Nielsen wasn't here, but he texted me, and he was in agreement with it also.
Do we need legislation to pass that, John, to increase, or can we just increase it, or a motion, or, we'll think about it.
Yes, I can't remember what we did last year. I think we just bumped it up without, but I'll double check.
I believe that's what we did. And the only other thing is, Mr. Whedon mentioned it, that this is our 75th year of being Walton Hills. And the recreation, we were gonna put our heads together and try to come up with something, and maybe council and mayor and anyone else, or any of the residents, on some kind of celebration for the 75 years of Walton Hills.
We all love to have community day, I know that, but we know, we didn't budget for it, but I think that's a great idea. Maybe, even if we just had just our fireworks one day is a great thing. People love,
That was a huge part of the expense, though, on
It
Community
is.
Day. That was like the biggest expense.
It was, but I don't know if we can see where we are with the budget. Did you guys talk about it at all, like what?
Well, a little bit we did, and maybe if we went like up at TG Young Park, and maybe had hamburgers, hot dogs, just something, you know, for the residents to come up and celebrate.
Yeah, I think it's a great
Yeah.
idea. What, did you, any,
No, because we just mentioned,
yeah,
started
so
talking
just, you
about
just
it.
start with, good, okay.
Yeah.
Just starting to
So
get the
just to
ball
pass
rolling
it
a little
around,
bit.
any residents, council, anybody come up with something that communities do.
Mayor Colograph, I would imagine somewhere there's a document that states the actual incorporation date somewhere in our history.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
I thought,
Probably have
although I thought Brian would have it at the top of his head.
That was what I brought up, was in 2001, we did the time capsule for the
Right.
50th anniversary.
Isn't it the 250th anniversary of our country?
The country,
Mhm.
yes.
We're
Yeah.
tying it together if we need to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Come together.
tie it together, right.
If we, I don't know, it's a thought.
Make t-shirts, 75/250. There you go.
Why don't we do this? Why don't, is Natalie gonna pursue, like, she could probably go back and see what, something similar to Community Day, costs. Not that we have to have Community Day, we can have a smaller scale of that. You can, you know, there's a lot of options there. Don't have to have the fireworks, but maybe just have something, you know, whether it's like a music up there and some blow-up rides or some barbecue, you know, something like that. Or maybe the committee decides they wanna have fireworks, which is, I guess what would be good to have her look at the cost and share that.
Mr. Mayor, I think you brought it up, or maybe you didn't. Maybe we could get some corporate sponsors to sponsor our anniversary.
I think that's very possible.
If anybody knew someone from UH.
Yeah,
Cardinal perhaps,
Cardinal, yeah.
Dayglow.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could, but good idea. I'm glad you guys talked about it and got the ball rolling. We have years of, you know, gosh, when was the last time we had a community day? How many years ago would you say?
And a long-
10, would you
Several,
say?
yeah.
Not that long.
No?
Maybe.
No, yeah, it hasn't been that
2018,
long, but I think
2019.
maybe 18 or 19 is when we stopped.
Aren't you still wet from the last time I dunked you with the dunk thing?
I don't think you ever, I
Oh,
think
yeah,
you
I
missed
got
the
you.
whole time.
No, I got you.
Look at that, he's like proud of that.
I aimed real good.
Out of everything, that's what he remembers.
Mr.
I
Mayor,
just remember Carla telling me it cost her a lot of money.
Mr. Mayor, I know, one thing that I brought up to Natalie over the past how many years was, the possibility of like rolling block parties, taking sections of streets and having them come up to the community center and have a big block party there. It wouldn't be on the street, you know, it'd be in a protected area with a parking lot and stuff, and,
Yeah, like, and so each neighborhood kinda gets together or whatever.
mhm.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea either. But, yeah, whatever you think, but definitely, you know, those are all great ideas. I seen, they've done a good job, the Journal, they've had quite a few newer programs in there. In the Journal that they haven't had before, so that's nice to see. And having something for the anniversary here and stuff too.
Mr.
Well,
Mayor,
Diane, you are
well,
up
they
to the
also,
task.
they do have the, which was new, the remembrance ceremony they have on February 24th, so there isn't much warning in advance. But they have where Pastor Bob from the Gospel House is gonna be coming up there to do a little encouragement for hope, and I'm not sure what we'll be putting the people's names on, but we'll be remembering our loved ones here from the village, and their names will be read out loud. Oh, it's an ornament, personalized ornament. And they have this little fake tree that they're gonna hang them on and everything over in the event center. And just to get together, to remember our loved ones. This is something new that they're going to do.
Yeah, I think there's a couple other programs. What else do you have there, Diane? There was another,
We better have a big tree.
there was another,
I got a whole lot of family.
And they're marked in here, new, the card sharks.
Yes. Card sharks, yes. Yeah, that'll be on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Any type of cards, you know, if they want to play pinochle, bridge.
Chips
Uno.
only, right?
And some newer trips, the trips look pretty nice too.
Uno?
Uno, yeah, that's a card game, Uno, you know, whatever they want to come up with, definitely.
You know, it did make me feel better seeing camp staff needed, it's like, oh my gosh, I guess there is gonna be a spring. You know, I'm thinking, are we gonna be in the winter mode, but it was kinda nice to see, I know they start early.
Yeah, they do have 5 people from last year that have signed up already.
Oh, good.
So we're, you know, at least we've got, yeah, last year went very well, so I'm hoping everything being so positive will come into this year and maybe we'll have more kids.
Okay. Well, good, sounds like you got a good start, to the first recreation and community life meeting of the year. So that's good.
And Ray, do you want to tell about the community pantry?
You can go ahead.
Oh, well, you know more about it than I do, but Ray Whedon had given us a paper here on Bedford Heights has a community pantry where they're asking for donations, you know, any type of the food items, you know, canned goods, cereal, rice, also any kind of hygiene products. There's also any clothing, certain clothing, and so to donate. And then, of course, anyone, it's the 44146 area, zip code. Anyone that is in need of something is going to be able to go there also and pick up various items also. So this has started. It was effective January 13th, and definitely is something, you know, we do our own little pantry stuff around Thanksgiving, and I know the lake does theirs, they collect.
And we have the Benevolent Fund.
Yes, and this is definitely just something all year round for people that need help or would like to donate.
And that serves our community just as well as the
Yes.
other communities?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Good. Is that something we should post, or?
Did you have any more of these, or?
No, I only had 3 copies. I gave one to
Yeah, I have
Mayor,
one, I have one.
one to you, and one to Natalie, to the rec director, and community life director. I only had 3 copies.
Okay, I mean, maybe it's somehow we can get it into the journal, you know, to a little info about it.
You can probably scan it and put it on the website.
Yeah, I'll see what Mary has, and then Natalie can make copies of it at the event center too. Any other business, Diane, are you still?
No, I think I'm done.
Are you? No, that's good. I'm glad you had a very good meeting. And nice to know that, I mean, there's always something going on at the event center, but know that we're thinking about summer too, so that's good to know. Anything else? Does anybody have anything else for other business?
Mr. Mayor, just a note from Joe that says, thanks for the support, signing off.
Okay. Good night, Joe. Okay, otherwise I ask for a motion for.
I have something, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Nielsen isn't here, but we have 2 members of the Information Committee here, and I did submit draft minutes, so I'd like to see if I can get an acceptance of the minutes from the 12/16, and I do believe we accepted the June 17th, 25 minutes, but I'm not positive, so I'd like to, I submitted both of those to the full committee. So would you be acceptable to accepting those minutes?
Sure, I'd like to make a motion to accept the meeting minutes from the Information Committee from December 16th, 2025, and June 25th, 2025.
17.
June 17th, of 2025.
And I'll second that, and, 2A's approve? You approve?
Yes,
And
I approve.
So
Okay.
I'll submit
Minutes
those
passed.
to, minutes pass, I'll submit those to everybody.
Mhm.
Okay. Anybody else? If not, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the COW meeting for today, February 3rd, 2026.
Second.
Vote on the motion.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, meeting adjourned at 8:12 PM. Thank you, everybody.
That was exactly one.